we were putting together a list of Marvel's top 20 most popular characters, I wouldn't think twice about including Daredevil on that list. And I think there could even be an argument made that he's even lower down in a, closer to the tens than the 20s. He's had, well, his movie wasn't particularly successful, but the TV show sure was. And we have literally decades of not good, but great Daredevil comics that I mean, when I got into comics, I'm sure this was the same for Tyler. We always heard about the Daredevil, like not the Daredevil effect, but how like Daredevil comics would always get the best of a creative team. Like they would bring their best to that character.
Essentially, it was Marvel Knights onward, really.
Yeah, yeah,
And there was always the lead off, like the final issue would lead the other creative team off in a weird spot. It was almost like a game the creators would play with each other.
and yeah, and you go further back, and you've got Frank Miller, who
Sure.
arguably did his best Marvel work with Daredevil. So why is it that today, when Daredevil just had a successful relaunch in the show, the new show, the Disney Plus show, and he's such a historically interesting and popular character, that right now it feels like Daredevil is nowhere. The current run is ending. When it ends, there is no solicited relaunch or anything like that. We are, for the first time since I think since I've been reading comics, we are in a Daredevil-less era.
Yeah, scratching out like Battle World era. I don't think there's been a time where it's not been published. Um, like an actual ongoing, because November Slits came out and there's no Daredevil. Which is weird because it is weird because Daredevil Cold Day in Hell just finished. And that was a generally pretty damn good 3-issue story. But nothing against Saladin Ahmed. I have liked Saladin Ahmed's work. This Daredevil just isn't resonating with people. And it feels weird because it does feel like one of the first like major missteps in Daredevil reading since, oof. Sean might disagree with me on this, but probably the Shadowland era. Um,
I Even though I liked it, I don't argue that like
sure,
objectively people didn't like it.
sure. And I think that the thing that jumps out to me most about this run so far is the distinct lack of supporting cast. Like the whole first, it's hard to say first arc when the arc is like 12 issues long or whatever. Um, but the whole idea of like the seven deadly sins inhabiting people in Daredevil's, periphery, Kingpin, Foggy, like the representation of, I think it was Pride inhabited Foggy or something like that. Um, but it really got rid of Daredevil's kind of being a hero at night and trying to still be a hero during the day, but working for two sides of the same coin. Um, the whole story was about how he just came back from literal heaven in Zdarsky's run, and he became a priest in this run. And like that, I think that on paper that's compelling, but it didn't really tackle it enough because the whole time he's just trying to be Daredevil to escape things. Which sucks because I think the Aaron Kuder art of it was really good. But the fact that it was missing a love interest until like 5 issues ago or 4 issues ago. Um, Outside of the will they won't they Elektra Daredevil stuff, which a little overplayed at this point. Um, yeah, I think it was just missing some kind of sauce. And there was that one bit. It was there was like a fungus arc in the most recent run of Daredevil, where he just for some reason has to put on the old 90s gear. That of course coincided with the show donning a similar costume, which felt so on the nose corporate synergy because the comic had no real way of justifying it correctly. That annoyed me. It jumped out to me and it stuck out like a sore thumb. Like we just had the Daredevil armored, out of continuity 90s book that, people, were I guess clamoring for. I don't know. But like they did that there fine. But to do it in the main book was just weird to me. And I just feel like it really lost its steam, which is a shame for a Daredevil comic.
Put on a moldy costume. Gross.
Well, he was fighting a moldy man, so
Um, it's Do you feel like then, Tyler, being closer to the book, that what they do need right now is time for Daredevil to cool off? Or is the better alternative, let's revamp the team, let's put somebody else on who's going to help to revitalize that energy?
I guarantee you, Daredevil is a book creators want to be on.
Mm,
If I'm a creator, I would probably want to be on the book that everyone did so well on, that some people cut their teeth on. Chris Samnee, who's doing amazing work in Batman and Robin right now, like in terms of superhero books, cut his teeth on, I guess initially the Mighty Thor, uh, but mostly on Mark Waid's Daredevil. And I think as an artist and as a writer, you'd want a Daredevil book. I'm sure they can say, hey, we need a new Daredevil #1. We're looking for pitches or something. I don't know how exactly that works. Sometimes it works that way. I know at least it worked that way for Phoenix. They had like, hey, we're doing this story, Phoenix. What do you got? And they have to do it because there's another season of Daredevil coming out. So I assume they're going to want to have a book on the stands for this.
I think characters like Daredevil and the Daredevil situation and problem that Marvel is having is illuminative of another situation, which is that they just don't have the talent to spread around like they used to make sure that books like Daredevil always have a banger set of writer and artist on it. Like they just don't have that same bandwidth. Like we can only throw out the names, Jonathan Hickman, Jed McKay, Kelly Thompson, Ram V so many times. Kelly and Ram don't appear to have anything to do with Marvel at the moment. They're clearly not putting Hickman on that book. Jed McKay is stuffed. He's doing a lot. So where do you go? Saladin Ahmed is a hand. I'm not saying he's a bad writer. I've enjoyed things he's done, but he's a hand. I didn't look at that announcement and go, this is the next Daredevil era.
Same for me. Yeah, I was like, oh, interesting. It was more pitch that was interesting to me when I saw it in Ahmed's original pitch for it. I was like, ooh, we're going to leading into the religious end of things. Okay, let's go for it. But yeah, Marvel doesn't have the architects. Marvel doesn't have the bullpen anymore. They have people they get, and even then, they're not really building anyone. I'm a fan of Stephanie Phillips's work. She is doing amazing work on Grimm for Boom. And I think she's doing pretty good work on Phoenix as well. She just announced that she's leaving the book because she has found an opportunity elsewhere that she could not pass up, whatever that means. You know what that doesn't sound like? A Marvel opportunity. That sounds like she got maybe poached somewhere else for something else. And many such cases. Like I feel like nobody is ever at Marvel right now, unless they are one of those big names you've already mentioned, who have been around for a while, are really making big names for themselves. And I think that's by design at Marvel.
it's interesting to me that you said that, when you guys heard Saladin Ahmed not be announced, right? It felt like he needed to do the work to earn the title on that book. Like he needed to work to elevate that to the previous highs that it was.
Yes, because it's Daredevil. And I think
Right.
maybe that's unfair to creators, possibly.
Mm.
But look at the list of names that were on there. Mark Waid, Charles Soule, who Charles Soule was a real hot name at the time when he joined Daredevil, and he got even hotter because of Daredevil. Even before that, Brubaker, Bendis, Kevin Smith, and Ascenti was huge at the time when she was writing it. Miller. Yeah, Wally Wood. One of his most important things he did at Marvel was the red costume, you know? That is a lineage it would be tough to follow. But I guess that's also where I'm like, as a creator, maybe you'd want to try and see what you can do there.
But I think for me, like when you take the names away and you just look at the work, all those runs are classic.
Right.
And I'm not going to be convinced by like if Saladin Ahmed's name was replaced with Jonathan Hickman, just for the sake of this discussion, I would say, oh man, this is going to be insane. Like this will probably be really good. But then the work will be judged by the work. If Saladin Ahmed came in, and I have the perspective of, oh, this is just, they're just getting this out to get it out. And then he goes and does something amazing on Daredevil, then he did something amazing on Daredevil. And it doesn't matter what I think about his status. The problem to me is that they don't have a roster of creators who are going to bring fire, frankly, to that book.
And these are creators that do not know how long the book will last. You know, they don't know if it's a mini. They don't know if it's an ongoing. What is an ongoing at Marvel? You know, that's why I felt like pacing wise, Solid and Med's run was weird. I guess you can probably assume you'll have more legs because it's a Daredevil book, but it's not often Daredevil gets fully renumbered like it is.
I mean, even with Chip, there was a new number one, same
Sure.
creative team. So
Yeah.
Oh,
I
if
feel
they
like,
have more Chips run, yeah.
yeah, I feel like that's par for the course. But I think to your point, the fact that they do renumber, that they do so frequently, is at least if I'm the creator, right? Oh, this could be a refresh point, not just for the title and the number because that's what Marvel does, but for me, right? And so like it is my now expectation to over deliver on that book so that you can have your name in the mix with all those other creators.
Right. Like, I didn't read the run. I have not read Saladin's run. I read the first couple issues and I knew it wasn't for me. Um, but generally speaking, to me, when I read a run that starts off really hot, it's because the creator has something very deliberate to say. And that's not how this feels. I feel like Chip had something to say.
Yeah.
I feel like Wade had something to say. Charles Soule clearly had something to say. I don't know what Saladin is saying.
That's kind of where I am. I saw it in his pitch. I didn't see it in the work. There's a little to be said about forgiveness and stuff where there's like a quick Kingpin arc in that, and it looks like it's going to be ending on Kingpin as well. I just caught up on the series yesterday, actually, ironically. So we'll see where that goes. But like the whole Seven Deadly Sins thing, it was like, okay, this is more gimmick than actual substance.
Yeah. And the truth is that um, Daredevil's not the only book I feel this way about. It feels like there are a lot of books that feel like they're about nothing. And that's never going to work for me. Like, what are you here to say? You know, I'm hopeful that they figure it out with Daredevil because Daredevil should never go unpublished. That seems crazy to me. He's too popular, too cool, too good of a character. But maybe the reason that we don't have an announcement is because they're actually taking their time to find the right creative team, to find the person who has something interesting to say that you know, creatively, and give them the ball.
And if the second season of Daredevil comes out around the same time as last year, we're looking at maybe April or so for a show. I got to imagine then we're probably looking at January, February if they're going to relaunch the book. So something we should expect an announcement maybe near a Comic-Con. That feels like a good time for some news on that if the timelines line up there.
Yeah, give it a chance to chill, build up a little bit of excitement, and then relaunch in the new year. That makes sense.
You need a refractory period.
Yeah.
I don't think Marvel themselves would want Daredevil to go unpublished for too long. Like, it's okay. Like I I don't love it, but I don't question it as much when you're talking about somebody like Miss Marvel or even a Blade, because they're not as popular as Daredevil is.
Even Iron Man not having a solo right now doesn't bother me as much because he exists in other books. Daredevil traditionally does not exist in a lot of other books. He's not a team guy. He occasionally shows up in Spider-Man. So when he's missing the solo title, he's kind of missing. So there's a distinct void that you feel when there's no Daredevil being published.
Yeah, I'm with you. Do you guys have a writer artist you would like to see come on? If you know, if you could pick anybody who, you know, who's available.
Ram, I want to see what he has to say about the character. Like, I think he's intelligent as it relates to like religion and like, a different perspective. So it'd be cool to get like a more of a take from that.
A writer I am just dawning on would be interesting, and I don't know if he has a take on it, but Jeff Lemire.
Oh,
I think it's one of those guys that like would have fit well as doing a quick Daredevil run somewhere within the last runs of teams that we've mentioned. But then when I think of artist, the one that jumps out to me immediately is Hayden Sherman. I need to know what Hayden would do with the sonar. Like when I think of like Daredevil art, it's like, ooh, how do they deal with that? Somni did it really, really well. With like the black and like neon pinkish purple that's almost like synonymous with the character now. But yeah, that's the one I would think of.
I really I was actually asked this the other day, and I said Rom V because of the religion aspect. I think Rom would challenge Daredevil a lot from a religious standpoint because I think Rom has in his mind challenged religion a lot, especially being a non-American observing, American
yeah,
Christianity,
yeah.
or Catholicism, excuse me. Um, I think that would be really cool. Artist wise, I think there are a lot of ways you could go. Hayden would be really great. Um, Obviously, their DC exclusivity makes that problematic, but so what? We're just fan casting at this point. I can't. Yeah, Marco, I think you kind of hit it for me at least. That's what I would like to see. How about you guys? Let us know what creators you think you would like to see on Daredevil. Is it weird to you that Daredevil's not being published? What are your Daredevil thoughts? Leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching. Take care.